my peeps, and welcome to another Algebra Nation podcast. You know you love it, just like you love that Miami Heat. Today's podcast is going to be on page 93, problem number 1. And speaking of number 1, ask yourself, are the Miami Heat number 1 in the Eastern Conference standings? Not in their division, but overall. Because if you don't know the answer to that question, it would be a resounding no. Denied! Maybe you should jump on the Pacer bandwagon.
We are going to do some systems of equations problems. So what we're doing is looking at two lines in this problem, and we want to see where they intersect. We want to know the solution. What point x comma y do both of them have in common? Well, let's take a look at our problem. We have two limos heading downtown for a concert. Really fancy. One of the limos is driving Toucan Sam, and the other limo is driving Tony the Tiger. Big celebrities. Toucan Sam's limo is following the line x plus y equals 3. And Tony the Tiger's limo is following the line negative 3x plus y equals negative 1. We are going to graph these lines and label the point where the two routes intersect. Well, what we're doing is graphing the lines to solve the system. We're graphing the lines to figure out where do they intersect, where do they cross each other, what point do they have in common. So graphing is one way that you can solve systems of equations problems, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. The first thing we need to do is figure out our two lines. We want to get each of our lines in y equals mx plus b form. It's going to be a lot easier to graph them. So for our first one, for Sam, he is driving on the path x plus y equals 3. Well, is that in y equals mx plus b form? No, we want to get it in that form. It's going to be a lot easier. So what do we need to do? We want y by itself. Well, x is being added to that side, so we need to subtract it. Okay, what does that give us? Well, those cancel out, and we get y equals, right, we have our y on our left side, then our equals, a 3 and a negative x. A 3 and a negative x. Can those be combined? No, they're not like terms. They can't be combined. So you get negative x plus 3. Now, I know some of you may have written 3 minus x, and that's completely fine. You can write it in the other order. It means the same thing. You just want to make sure you're paying attention to which term is your x term, because that'll give you slope, and which one is your number. That constant is going to be your y-intercept. So remember that a line is y equals mx plus b. Well, the m is our slope, so what is the number in front of our x here? We only see a negative sign, but an x by itself is really saying what? Really saying 1. So we see our slope is negative 1. M equals negative 1. Now our b, our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is 3. So what do we do with a y-intercept? Where's our y-intercept? Is it on the y-axis or the x-axis? Y-intercept, it intercepts your y-axis. So on our y-axis, we're going to plot our y-intercept, which is 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got the point 0, comma 3. Now what do? Now we're going to use our slope, a slope of negative 1. Well, we want to think of slope as our rise over our run. Well, that would be negative 1 over what? 1. Anything over 1 is just itself. Now we have a negative slope, so we know our line is going to have a downward slope. If you go from left to right, it's going down. So what do we want to do? We're going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Well, we got a bunch of points, right? Let's connect them. We'll have our line. So we've got our limo path for Toucan Sam. Draw our arrows showing that our line keeps going. All right, so now that we have our line for Toucan Sam, let's graph our line for Tony the Tiger. So Tony the Tiger, his limo path is represented by the equation negative 3x plus y equals negative 1. Well, this isn't in y equals mx plus b form either, so we need to get it in that form. We have a negative 3x being subtracted from y. We have a positive y, and 3x is being subtracted. That's a negative. So what do we need to do? We're going to add. When we do that, we see that that negative 3x and 3x cancel out, and all we have left on the left is our y. Now we have 3x and a negative 1. Can those be combined? No, we write them out separately. We have 3x minus 1. And again, you could write negative 1 plus 3x, and it means the same thing. So let's see what we have here. We want to find our m and our b. What is our m? What is our slope? Well, the coefficient of x, the coefficient is your number in front of the x term. That's our slope. That's our m. So our slope is 3. How can we write that as a fraction? How can we think about that as rise over run? Put 3 over 1. Anything over 1 just gives you that number. 3 divided by 1 is 3. Now what about b? What is our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is our constant term. This entire thing is our y-intercept. Remember, you have to include the sign. So since we have a minus 1 here, our b is negative 1. Our y-intercept is negative 1. So for Tony the Tiger, his limo hits the y-intercept where? At negative 1, right here. So we've got this point. 0, negative 1. And that's the point what? That's our y-intercept for Tony the Tiger. Now let's see how we get this line. We still need to get Tony's line. So we're going to use our slope. 3 over 1, that's positive. So we're going to go up 3 and over 1. We're going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. Let's do it again. Up 3, over 1. Well, now we've got a couple of points. Let's connect them. Let's connect them to make our line. All right, well, that looks good. Draw my arrows. Do these lines intersect? Yeah, they do. They intersect right here. That's the solution. That is the point where their paths are going to cross. Hopefully not at the same time, right? That would be bad. That would be an accident. Well, what is that point? Remember that a point is always going to be an x, comma, y. Your solution is going to have an x and a y. Well, what is this point? Well, let's see how far we go over on our x-axis. We go over 1, so x is 1. How many do we go up? 1, 2. Our y is 2. You guys, we just got the point. We did exactly what the question asked. It said, graph these lines in the plane below. Well, we did that. Label the point where they intersect. We did that. We found the solution to this problem. We looked at the system, found where they crossed, we found that point. All right, guys, great job. If you really want to go wild with this, try solving for x and y using a method other than graphing. Remember, you don't always have to use graphing. Sometimes graphing is actually really hard to do with these problems. All right, I'll see you guys on another video.